these long in-camera shots.
There's a tension in something when you don't cut as much. You're just a little bit more focused. It's very satisfying.
Oh, this camera is huge. I mean, seriously, you should see this. No wonder it's such good quality.
Too much? Anyways, I think it goes without saying that lighting is one of the most important factors when it comes to improving at cinematography. And if we're honest with ourselves, the only real way to get better at lighting is to practice. In case you haven't caught on, one of the fastest ways to get better is to copy the works of others. Steal ideas and cinematography techniques from the people that have done it and done it well, and try and implement that into your own work. So in order to get some reps in, I wanted to challenge myself to create some good-looking shots, recreate a few scenes from an iconic movie, but without lights. Okay, in case you didn't catch the reference, classic scene from the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. The cinematographer, Don Burgess, pretty iconic. I hadn't realized that he had done Forrest Gump, Castaway. He did this crazy shot from Contact, the one where the girl runs up the stairs down the hall and it perfectly transitions into the mirror, like insane. I don't really know what sparked this idea, but for some reason, it's just kind of one of those iconic scenes that's always stuck around like rent-free in my head. I think what I like about it too is that practically speaking, the way that it's lit and sort of set design, it's very real. Something that you probably have somewhere around in your house, like this pretty basic bedroom setup that looks like it's lit from a lamp kind of off in the corner. And then when he is drawing the suits at his desk, I mean, it looks like there's a little table lamp on the desk that's giving us his key light. I mean, in principle, that's what it appears to be. I'm sure there's a lot more fixtures used than just a couple of lamps, but I think there's a lot of this that we can achieve with pretty much what you have in your own space. So maybe I'm cheating a little bit here. I think a floor lamp doesn't really count as like a video light. We have this really basic standing floor lamp that's just got like a warm LED bulb in it. One super simple trick is just using tinfoil. If you think about it, the reflector that goes on the front of a normal LED light is like just a dish, and it's got an internal sort of reflective pattern on the side of it, directing the light into a even spread. Tinfoil, it's kind of the same material. You can just sort of wrap it around the light and kind of shape the direction that you need the light to go. It takes all of that light that was going everywhere because it's just an open bulb and we're focusing it. It's still gonna be a pretty hard quality of light, but I think for this type of a shot where it's like a super close newspaper, practicals, desk lamp, that type of thing, should work perfect. To add a little bit of camera movement, kind of this push in, I think they likely did on a dolly. We just used this Rhino slider, did this kind of high to low push as I'm looking through this newspaper. If you paused at any point to read what some of that stuff actually said, there's a few funny little points in there. My friend Chase helped me just sort of manually designing this in Photoshop from a couple of references. Initially, I was just gonna try and print out like an old vintage car newspaper, just like what Toby was reading in the scene, but I couldn't really figure out a way to write this little skit that worked to show cars, like me looking for cars. That eventually led me to Kylie in the very beginning, would see some big cameras on social media and make some size comments. It's random, it doesn't really make any sense, just kind of for fun. I had my good friend Jackson over to help me with some of the camera operation for these newspaper shots where we had some camera pans and tilts and tracking as I followed down the page reading it. We just used the same lamp with the tinfoil and brought it in closer, a little bit lower to kind of create some more shadow. But it's pretty convincing, to be honest. I really don't think that using a real video light would have made this look significantly different. These bathtub shots don't really make a lot of sense in the story, but I just wanted to add some variety. And I thought, you know, me just sort of mulling things over in the tub would be kind of funny. I've almost always used a single overhead light source, something like a tube or even a spotlight up above me to create some really nice directional light that has some nice shadow. Overhead lights, or, you know, just the normal house lights, I think we all know are kind of like the enemy. Usually it's like tungsten or incandescent bulbs. They just sort of evenly flood and fill the space. You get weird shadows, weird color temperatures. To be honest though, they sometimes can be a lot more useful than you would think. Tinfoil to the rescue again. There's 2 overhead lights in the bathroom. I used just a single piece just taped to the ceiling to basically completely block one of the lights. And then I created this cylinder by just sort of rolling the tinfoil around this thing, kind of shaped it into a reflector. I was able to tape it up onto the ceiling and pretty easily just direct the light exactly where I need it. So it takes this very wide flood that sort of illuminates the whole bathroom, tons of ambient fill, and directs it into a pretty hard, spotty light source overhead, which is exactly what I want for a shot like this in a bathtub. Something that feels dramatic, got a little bit of texture, some deep shadows. Speaking of texture, to really tie this together, make it feel very realistic, we used haze. It's not exactly super practical to just sit in a tub of hot water and keep it running, keep the steam going. So adding haze or atmosphere to a shot that adds volume to the space. It makes lighting become more pronounced. It lifts the shadows and kind of smooths things out in a way. If you look at pretty much any interior scene from some of the most iconic television series or movies, you'll see that they use haze like a lot. It has this incredible ability of making things feel like real and tangible. It gives spaces that 3-dimensional feel that help to draw your eye in and see the depth in the image. I used the new SmokeNINJA Pro from PMI. This is their newest version of their handheld fog and haze machine. It now comes with this haze attachment that makes for a really convincing haze effect. You guys might remember the little haze machine that I made not too long ago, sticking a fan with like a magic arm in front of it. It worked, but it was clunky. And I'll admit, I don't know if I used it or picked it up again after that video. This new generation has a much longer burst time. I think you can do up to 3 minutes. So you don't have to worry about overheating. Also, their fog liquid formula is redesigned to be completely non-irritating, so you don't have to worry about it bothering people's eyes or sinuses. The base kit has everything you need. It's got 100 milliliters of the fog liquid. It's got a remote control, a bunch of different shapes of nozzles for different effects like dry ice, steam, and it all fits in this really clean little protective case. And you know what? I'm actually gonna give this SmokeNINJA Pro away. So if you guys wanna win it, leave a comment down below. Go follow me over on Instagram and make sure to leave your Instagram handle in the comment. I think what excites me is that it's usable for something like this, just a fun little practice YouTube concept, but even on a production level, they actually make an attachment, the Trident handle, that allows you to sync up 3 individual machines to get like 3 times the amount of output. So if you're needing to fill up a really big space for a big wide shot, these can still take care of it. Negative fill, probably one of the simplest and most dramatic ways to change a shot. It's kind of a funny concept, like the idea that taking away light can sometimes be just as important, if not more important, than adding light. There's so much beautiful light that exists naturally within the world. And sometimes all it takes is bringing a little bit more shadow to add shape and dimension onto a subject to really transform it into a good looking image. It's kind of ridiculous. Negative fill material, black solids, floppies, cutters, flags, duvetine. Like, it's absurd how much this stuff can cost. It's literally just black fabric. Simple solution. Picked up this black tablecloth material from Party City. Literally works perfect for this. It's not quite 100% opaque, is that the right word? When it's up against bright light sources, you'll see a little bit of light bleeding through, but using this roll is great. It's like 5 or 6 feet wide. You can roll out as much of it as you need. I use this just really basic crossbar on top of a light stand and use a couple of grip clips, and boom, massive negative fill that I can easily walk around, add shape into a shot. Like here in the living room, the big sliding glass doors in front of us give some pretty nice light, but because they kind of cover the length of the entire wall and all the walls are white, it becomes a pretty flat shot. Bringing in some negative fill here over on one side just helps add a little bit more contrast back in. In hindsight, I wish that I actually left the curtains a little more open and actually brought in a little bit more negative fill right behind the camera, because it would have helped the light come a little bit more from the side rather than front. We added in some haze as well, just to add a little bit more volume and depth. This thing is seamless, fast to use, easy to set up. It actually feels like something I would want to pick up regularly. Punching in here for these close-ups, the negative fill makes a really big difference. It's really nice looking light, and this is just from the window right in front of us. Angling the camera and angling us in such a way that we're shooting into the shadow or the dark side of the subject, which is going to create those layers and create the dimension within the shot that we're all looking for. For the drawing sequence, shot basically right here at this kitchen island. Back here, we have this under cabinet lighting in the kitchen. It's dimmable. It's actually just an LED strip that I installed myself. So yeah, maybe it's cheating, not using lights, but this is like a part of the house in my mind. But I simply just flagged off the light by bringing in that black tablecloth to shape it in such a way that it feels a little bit more like a lamp is illuminating me from the front. I also used the standing floor lamp again with tinfoil, just focusing it toward the side of me to add a little bit of a hard edge. Both of these light sources are like a warm 3200 Kelvin-ish color temperature. So taking that into account is really important. Adjusting the white balance in camera to be able to get a correctly balanced image. It can definitely be easy to get stuck on just sort of leaving your camera at daylight 5600 Kelvin and not thinking about it. But when you really begin to analyze the light within a space, the different color temperatures that exist, I think you'll really quickly begin to find that there's a lot more potential when you work with these different variables rather than just turning everything off and putting up your own lights. I feel like when you begin getting into cinematography, it's really easy to fall into the trap of feeling like you gotta use a ton of lights. Like you start using bigger and more powerful lights. But on the flip side of that, I think there is something to be said for really knowing how to maximize and work with the ambient light within a space and how to control it to your advantage. Okay, well, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit, testing some lighting and some fun tools. I appreciate every one of you more than words can explain. And I know I haven't been posting very frequently. I've been dealing with some challenges in my life that I want to get a little more under control as I continue on this path, but I'll be doing my best to keep sharing content with you guys as often as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.